Thanks for tuning into this interview I'm doing with Mario Paredes of Galeria Union here in Mexico City, in the heart of El Centro, next to Mercado La Guanilla. And I have to say that I need a tech person to help me with this because I'm not a video person, obviously, as you'll see in the video. But I edited out the first 10 minutes of the video where he was doing a tour of the show. And we only get part of the tour because of audio issues, which we were able to resolve, and we had a fascinating and interesting conversation. So I hope that you'll enjoy the part of the show that we show with more detail about what the artist was working on, what they were thinking, and then we'll go back and schedule an interview with the actual artist and put that into our channel as well. So I appreciate your patience with us, and
That's a little
on to
better.
our show.
Okay, as I'm telling you, these pieces are made previously to the pandemic. So this one is a bridge very close or under. It's close to Estadio Azteca, the Azteca Stadium. There is the big stadium here in the Mexico City, and here in one person asked me where when was this shot taken, and asked to the artist, and I found the image in Google Earth, Google Maps, and I found that this is like the entrance to the Stadium Azteca. It's in the back. So I found the picture and I was like, oh my God, it's there. And this is a train station. So this is not the train, this is the cassette. And in here, I think it is in this way, is where is the station of the train is. So, and this one is in the road, here in one road to Ajusco Picacho, and it's, as I'm telling you, it's in the outside of the city, so you can find like still in there. It's the great, the these amazing sunsets, amazing days, and you can find these little houses separate on the way to the to your home, and these little pieces are like, well, there is not much to say. These are the same of the others, but these ones are made before the pandemic.
And these are sold as a set.
Yes,
This particular.
this is a complete set, and it is the side of a photo that you can print in any place. It's 10 by 15.
Like a tourist photo.
Yes, exactly. And this one is like the big piece of the show, and is well, a bridge. This is periférico. This is like the one of the main avenues that cross all the city from north to south, and this is one of those areas, and this is the second floor that has the road here in Mexico. So basically, he worked all these uh, landscapes based on the perspective of the city, right? How it's how it's did at these times, how it's built, how the people move, and also because you can find the people, but you can see that when the people is in the paintings, you don't have the face because you can be related with that people, and also because I think it's necessary to do this like no portraits thing because you can identify with the image, and it's there are big pieces and in a small piece because I think the city is that, no, that you can be as big as you want, but the city all the time going to be make you small, because and I want to represent that.
Absolutely. Let's go back in and sit down.
Yes.
Be a little bit more comfortable. So that was the show. We are going to sit back down over here and we're going to talk for a few moments. Because the last time we talked, we didn't have as many people, so I thought it might be a good idea to recover some of the information that we did last time. Because I'm curious about your your curatorial process in terms of how you discover your new artist, and how you maintain your relationship with them. What are your sort of your mission about how you work with artists, and like what your goals are for the gallery? And can you give us a little bit of history?
I try to do my research on the social media, basically Instagram. But now, with with this new show, I think I got a lot more visual and a lot more attention from the people. And now I'm receiving a lot of portfolios from the artists. But sometimes I think, as I told you the last time, you need guys to check like the gallery of the concept of the gallery, because I received some portfolios. I was like, okay, well, and people ask me, I don't know, I received like some message from in my inbox on Instagram, and she was like, how do you decide who wants to who do you want to exhibit or not? And basically because it's I had to like it. It's my taste, and this is how I grow, because the gallery is based on that concept of artists that are from the outsides of the city, like as I am. I grew up and now I'm live again in the outside of the city, and it's super different to be there and be here. So, and it's not that far. It's like like a half hour from here, and people, it's super different. So, yeah.
So what elements, like for instance, what elements excite you about this artist?
Because this is for me, I'm connect with the perspective, because I remember those of these drawings in my industrial architectural things in the middle school. And when I see it, for me it was like, oh my god, this is a perspective. This is how the teacher, or yes, the teacher do this related to the design and the art, and how this is why I do this. And this is for me has to be had to connect with my memory, or with a memory in a particular, and it has to like it to me. It has to be like, oh my god, I love it. If it's not, for me it's like pass.
I have an awkward question for you. How
I think that's the main goal, and that's why I do this show with him. Besides because I like it, and also because this is like my good start of the gallery, and I think with him I built a good relation based on payments and money and sales. People
like to buy this work?
Yeah, people like his work, and that's why I don't know if I mentioned that last time, but Itzamna, I only see him like 4 times in my life, and all the communication is through Facebook, WhatsApp, or Instagram, and it's based on the trust that he has on me to give him his work. And I have my storage with his work, and I have in my place work of him. But he knows what I have, and I know what I have from him, and I know that I have to pay him, and I pay and the bills are clear. So, and also that's why he wants to work with me, and people like.
You represent well as well. I mean, like you get there's a good energy, but like there's so many galleries that don't follow through on things, and they don't communicate with their.
Michael, sound is not good again. We can't understand you guys.
Yeah, we can't hear you, and the question got cut out.
Oh, for some reason. Hire a professional to tell me what equipment to buy for this, that things work. Yeah. There we go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna, if I see that green light not beeping, I'm gonna run over. But if the sound starts to go out again, let me know. It switched over to a different microphone. I don't know why.
Can anyone please tell me until what part did you hear so I can repeat?
So when, Michael, when you asked the question, some question, it was completely muted. And then from that moment on, it became choppy.
Okay, yeah, I think that's when it, because he's got the piece that has another microphone, so, and that microphone is not awesome. So I think what I was curious about was the relationship that you have with your artist and how you maintain them. And I mean, beyond like the sort of business side of things, you know, how do you maintain your relationships other than, you know, paying things on time and, you know, clear communications about the things that you need? You know, how do you develop these relationships and I mean, with this particular artist, you've had this relationship for a couple of years now, I think, right?
Yes, I had this relationship with Itzamna from since the 2019, and since that moment, think I've been promoting his art very good, and I think, and even I do sales with him, no, and the base of our relation is in the trust because I pay him and I do the relations the PR that he doesn't have because he is too shy. So and I think I'm more over more flamboyant, I think. And I think that's the way how I can sell and do like these sales with him. And also because I think people it's what people likes like the new ways of do the things because he's not inventing the art over the painting, but I think this is a new way or to do the painting. And he's Mexican and I'm Mexican and I like it, and I also like because he's brown. I don't mention that because I don't think it's not important, but
Well, it is
in
kind of,
here
I mean, it is kind of important because, I mean, we've had this conversation between us before, but also there's so much classism and racism within Mexico. So obviously obviously to us, but like here, the darker your skin is, the less opportunity you're going to have to be represented and shown as well. So
yes, most of I prefer like work with artists of brown skin because I think it's represent me, and also because I represent them in because I'm the face of that. And I think it's like, oh my god, this guy has a gallery. He's brown and he also lives in La Lagunilla. It's like, and this is like a new space. So yes, it's a new space and I like it. And the base of every relationship is the trust. For me and with my artists and with my clients, like people has to know you like how you are. Well, not all the information that you can provide them, but
and you've worked in other galleries before.
yes.
So can you tell us why it is that you decided to venture out on your own and the kind of experiences related to this idea of like, you know, how much upward mobility you would have in these other spaces?
I don't know. Because I work in also in two galleries. One of them is in has a like a, not anymore, but had a space here in Mexico City, and it was from New York, and the other one is it was from Mexico City. So the ambience are what's or the context of the galleries are very different. And I work in the one from the New York. It did these international art fairs in Mexican this Sonamaco every year, and in the other gallery, the owner it was like a it was a guy that wasn't interested in like build a career as a gallerist, and all the time I was working by myself. You know, even if I work in these galleries, I all the time being the responsible of the manager. I all the time be the gallery manager, and I work all the time by myself, and I get the people of the like this outsourcing, and that's it. I know I have a show. I work this with this outsourcing, and that's it. And the other part I can do it by myself, and that's with that dream. It's how I started Galeria Union. But now, but now it's so different with the pandemic. Everything has different. But now that I have my space, I think it's necessary to have someone to help you to be here, because I can't be here all the time. I just can't. I have a lot. If you want to build relations, you have to go with the clients. You have to be here. You have to attend to the social media, and I think it's necessary to, now that I have this space, to have get someone to help me.
Right.
But now I'm happy with this space and follow Galeria Union.
So I'll send you my resume and we'll see what we can work out. I'm going to open the floor to questions from people. So you can unmute yourself when you have a question. Just try to pay attention if somebody else is talking at the same time as well. First questions.
I think there are someone in chat.
I'm going to pull up in the chat window here too. I try so much. LOL. Okay. Questions from the Peanut Gallery, our artist in residence and esteemed guests. Okay, see.
So are you open to artists that are not brown, but they're minorities of other kinds?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Are you open to artists that are not brown but are minorities?
No. I'm open to any artist, but basically, like,
That's
it's like,
automatically how you start.
yeah, it's how I started, because I think, because I've been feeling, or I have been part of this like this cultural thing of being brown. So I've been feeling, but it is not necessarily has to be a brown or Mexican person, but has to be a person who has like this conscious of how is the art a way of document the reality. No, for me it's the base. Also, that's another base of the gallery, but it's not important if you're yellow. I know, yellow, purple, blue, whatever. I don't doesn't matter.
Because I'm yellow and blue, which makes green. But also, are you showing sculpture as well?
Yes. Also, I open to any technique. I don't
Okay.
have any. Yes, I'm open to everything.
And what's the best way to send you information or contact you?
By Instagram or email is basically how I work. So yes.
Yeah, if you look in the residency Instagram, you'll see one of these paintings with an announcement for this show.
Okay.
So, and he's tagged inside of that as well, just to make it as easy as
And the
possible.
name of the gallery is Galeria Uno?
Union
Union. Galeria Union.
Union Gallery.
Thank you.
What?
Other questions? Questions from the Peanut Gallery. I feel like I need to put on like one of those MSR voices or something.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm just curious about your clientele and your audience. I mean, obviously it's always developing, but is it mainly, is it people who live in Mexico City, or is it international? Is it mainly people who are, US citizens? who are your main audience that you've developed so far?
So far, thank God, my main market is in outside of Mexico, and despite the, I don't know how to say, the internet, people who bought the artwork, it's people who already saw the art in the art fairs. So I think now I'm still like prolonging those market clients and try to figure it out, or try to invite to new people to see art as an investment. And I don't mention all the time, but I think it's important to people to see or recognize it as a collector. And I think at the moment, as you mentioned, that he's entering to a new category of buyer, the people get involved and get in love, and that's how I sell art. But I sell friends to sell to Mexican friends, but the pieces that are big are for the outside.
But I think it's also really important. How much is this?
Wait,
He's gonna give us price list out for it. Because I think in terms of the way that we think about artwork and how we price in the United States, it's very different here too. So I think you'll be a little shocked by the prices.
I don't know. Let me do the converse because I have in
Well, you tell me.
33,000 pesos.
32,000. So that's about $1,200 for, is this for the
No,
one?
each
one of them? Okay. And then the smaller pieces over here with the, they're 5,000 pesos,
5,000
which is about $250. So there's a good range with this artist. I think that also as a curator, gallerist, you're looking for like those different price points that people can enter in. And so your younger collectors who don't have huge apartments with big walls for this, or the money to pay for this, they can still collect the artist and build their collection.
Exactly. What I like, it's to have these options, no? Like, okay, do you like the artwork, but you don't have like 50,000 pesos? Okay, but you have 5,000 pesos. Well, why don't you start your own collection, or your own? Why don't you buy art and help artists and help space who is independent, and like try to embrace of these characteristics of being a guy who is from the outside of the real market, and try to get new clients, because I think it's market for everyone. No.
And oh, sorry, I heard something.
I had one more question along those lines. I was just curious if, I mean, I know things have changed since the pandemic, but are you finding yourself able to cater to clients more online? Or are you still sort of doing more in-person gallery sales and stuff? How is that? How has the pandemic changed your business? I know it's new, but yeah.
A lot. Because my main, like the main, like the base of the gallery in the 2019, it was not hard space, like do these pop-up shows for the weekend, art fairs, like not get this space. But the pandemic changed my life in many ways, and one of these ways is that I can move and be able to pay another space, and it's not that much. So with this, and I try to explode my base, my contact list, or my contact cell phone, because because with my career of 8 years, I built some relationships, and with curators, with journalists, with a lot of people, and now I'm like, I'm back, bitches. So it's like I'm the gallery doesn't work now as a way or a venue to be here because of the pandemic and everything. But now the people that comes comes because I invited, and the people that most of the people that come here, I get a benefit from everywhere. And it's now it's how I'm connected my playing my cards.
Well, and I mean, I have to say, I mean, that's, I think the sort of the system of private appointments and not having, because you can't have a large public events, you know, you can't have a party, which would be like sort of the normal way to launch things off. And then people are drawn in for free alcohol and the social aspects of it. And then, you know, a smaller percentage of those people translate into future sales or connections that help grow the gallery or the perspective of the gallery and stuff too. So in some ways, as a person who has to throw parties quite often, it's kind of a little bit of a relief because, well, I mean, you know, there's the expense of having to, you know, maintain the spaces and stuff like that, but also in terms of like just the stress that it causes. And then you don't know what relationships you're developing are going to lead to anything that's going to support the artist or the gallery too. And I agree with you. It feels the thing that I've always enjoyed doing is having these getting a little feedback.
That's fine.
I've always enjoyed having these like private dinner parties where you have like, you know, well, usually like at least like 10 people. But you came, this is the way that I work. I invite, you know, a couple collectors, Anna, you attended. So we had an artist, a curator, 2 collectors, and me as well. And so that, you know, that's primarily the way that I like to sell artwork, because I find the relationships are a little bit more intimate, and you can build the trust in things, you know, over time that way too. And they did end up buying new work, so which was great.
Yes, and also because you are selling status, no? And that's, well, in here in Mexico, it's very important to people. And when I get that in what in one course that I took, when people bought or buy art, is because it's entered to a new category. So it's very important to get to know the people, or the people who see or who appreciates art in Mexico. You can see how appreciates because of the language. So
Do the people that you work with, do they want to meet the artist too, or?
yes, many people wants to meet this artist, and I don't know why. Because just because
The artists are like, oh, how dare you?
I don't know because I don't know if because I think the artwork has to talk for you, right? No, but in here, I think because of the artist came from or see, yes, lives, comes, works within this context. I think it's the people fascinated of that and wants to meet these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I also feel like as a gallerist, if I can connect the potential buyer with a story, and so that's why I create all these videos with the artist, because not all the artists are going to be accessible because of distance and pandemic and all that kind of stuff too. So
yes, the pandemic in the conditions of the artists, no?
Right, like where are they?
Just because in the previous, I like to work with many days of before the opening, and on Tuesday I send the artist like, hey, can we do this video chat tomorrow at 11 a.m.? Yes, we meet there, okay. And I was in here, I was, hey, I'm ready, are you there? Crickets, crickets, crickets. And he put in touch with me until 2 days later when I do all the hanging and everything. And he was like, "Oh my God, I lost my cell phone. I get with a tree fell and cut the Wi-Fi, so I couldn't connect with you." And he doesn't let me know in 2 days what's going on. And I was like, oh my God, I hope everything is fine.
I know. It's so funny because, well, that also did the dog eat his homework as well. But anyway, but yeah, that's a good segue for a couple of the questions that we have here, because someone is asking, what are the one thing that an artist can do to make your job easier, but also following that, when an artist reaches out to you, whether with a solo proposal or a general outreach, what information do you want to see from them? So how does an artist make your life easier? Like, what's the one thing they can do? And then what is it that you want to see from them when they reach out to you for the first time? So
When they approach me.
yeah, when they approach, yeah, if they're just approaching you digitally, that's different than maybe like in an art fair setting or something. So digitally.
Okay. And an artist, I think, has to be a professional, no? And because I think in my vision that I'm professional. So that's like the recipe of the art. I don't know him. I don't know that. But I think that you have to be like, you know that you are artist, you have to have your files, the file of the artwork very well, and has to send in all the time that it has to be part of the show, your bio, your CV, like all those things that are
Elements.
just basics. And when people approach to me online, I like to see the Instagram, and if I like it, I start giving like likes. And sometimes they ask me right away, like, where can I send my resume or my portfolio? And it was like, friend, the you can find the information in the page of Instagram, and it's a mail. And I think that if you in people, it's that's what I'm telling you. People, I think, don't do like a quick view to the Instagram of the web page of everything, and right away they send the info. And sometimes is when you see that you don't guys do the research, and we have to do the research of your work.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, because I find, and as an artist, I understand, because we know our work, we know what we're doing, and we talk about it all the time, and so we're sort of, self-obsessed narcissists, and so we think everybody, knows what we're doing and everything, where it's easily understandable. But really, the job between the studio and the gallery, that sort of space in between, is about education, and it's about letting them know who you are without making it difficult. And for me, that follows in a sort of pathway of accessibility. So first, like you, I look at Instagram and I evaluate the story that you're telling in Instagram. And then I'll look at your website if I'm still interested to go a little bit deeper, see what your price points are, like where you're showing, like get a sense of who you are as an artist and everything. And then to go into that other part of the question, it's like, if the communication is difficult, if it's labored, like I feel like I have to keep asking the same questions over and over again, or if there's like a large gap, I have to be really excited about the artist to go on. And so like, for instance, in this photo show, the application of the artist had a typo in the website address, so I couldn't go to a website. I couldn't find them in Instagram, and I had to reach out to them. And normally I wouldn't do that. I'd only do that if I was excited about the artist. So I posed the question and got the answer back, and that's good. But then, like, when you start asking for things from the artist, it's very telling if there aren't things already prepared about where they are in their career and how seriously they're taking that. And for it looks like, I think it looks like all you're doing is putting art up on the walls and stuff, but there's so much backside work, and it's so laborious.
Yes.
And it's not the most exciting work either. Not like this conversation, like this is the fun part of work. so you don't want to invest time into someone who's going to be difficult to work with. So I think it's really important to have a good attitude about it and just try to respond as timely as you can, and just, you know, try to make it as easy as possible. Pay attention to what you're being asked for, right? I mean, it's almost like getting on the good side of a teacher in school.
And also because it has to be, and you guys has to know what type of artist are you. If you want to be in museums, or if you want to be in these big programs of curatorial things in around the world, or be a galleries artist. And also because I understand that you guys are looking for this kind of residencies, and the way that you can be able to show your work. And but I think you has to find your point. I found it, and I think everyone can find it and can find it, and that's my advice.
I think I'd also love to know your thoughts on showing unfinished work in social media. That's a very good question. I think for me, it depends. If it's part of the narrative and the style of the way that you're using Instagram, but it still has to be very considered in how you're showing it. And so, for instance, the way that I personally do that is I don't show a lot of in-process work necessarily. I will put it into my stories, or feed it into the backside of something. And then I try to leave my wall as pure as possible to make sure that the story is direct, because sometimes showing things in process can diminish the value of the completed pieces. So I think it's just about being considerate about it.
I don't know.
It's a good question.
Yes.
Because it can be done in so many ways. It's like,
I think you create like this excitement, and I think it's very good, no? Because for me, as a people goes to everywhere to the cell phone, and now it's my soul. So I think it's super necessary to how do you say it? Like to see the process, because I think you create this like, oh my god, what's going on, what is he doing? But I think sometimes when you show the final result, don't show very well, or it was like, oh my god, what is it, what's going on? But I prefer to see the process, because I think it's how you know the artist, how you know the process. And when you talk with him is, or to her, is how you connect the visual with the idea that you had, and how do you want to represent it. And when I see it, it's like, oh yeah, I saw that, because I remember that you last time did that, So yes, for me as galleries is very important, curator also, and I think it's very important to me to see the process.
Yeah. Do it, but be considerate about how you're doing it, because it's also short attention span theater too. So if you overwhelm, you might lose your audience too. Thank you. Great. Oh, what do you think are galleries' responsibilities apart from selling the artwork? That's a good question. I think gallerists should be making billions of dollars and buying boats and apartments off Park Avenue in New York City and Lagonia.
This is not mine. This is not mine.
Wouldn't be a very wise investment considering the times.
For me, in my case, here in Mexico, I did a bachelor degree in museography, and I did it in a school who takes is the National School of Anthropology. No, a restoration school here in Mexico. It's the most important, and in there they took very conscious of the art or how you move art, because they move on in that school. They show, or it's related with the archaeological things, with the medieval virreinal things here in Mexico, and they took very serious like these restorations works. When I do this degree, they show me how to take care of the art. This spice is contemporary, and they show me that all the art has to be moved with respect. No, because I'm moving a thought that you guys have, and it's physically done in this piece. So I think it has to be moved with respect. This for me is that important. And despite the cells, I think it's necessary like had a good environment for the pieces, had security, had these contracts with you, because everything has to be clear, uh, has to do the press of the show, has to be involved to the artists to get these interviews or these programs to more recognizing of everything. Uh, what else? I think it's the same of the museum. For me, it's the same as a museum, but the only difference is that in here you sell, and in here you can drink and and have a good time.
Be quiet, please. You're in the museum. No podcast.
I just not the art don't touch. That's the only rule in every place. The art
Not in Mexico.
don't touch.
I've slapped people's hands in museums here.
No, in here, no. I went to Colombia to the National Museum, and I saw. I don't remember the show. It was pieces from the cartographies, and then when people took the table, for me it was like, "What are you doing?" I started yelling in the museum, and the director of the museum gave me some books because of my commitment with the national patrimonial in Colombia. So for me, it was like, yes, this is how you do it. And here in Mexico, I do this volunteer in Museo Jumex. So also, I had like this teaching idea of the art thing that I don't know. I think I like to communicate the art in an educational way, and then I do like these selling things, and because I think, well, I like to do that.
Yeah, and I mean,
my
you're clearly passionate about art. So
my vision, my education is based on education in the art of the yes, and this is how I works. Never I thought I gonna have a gallery on in my mind. I have a small museum in my mind.
you're young.
But
It's
yeah,
still yet
that's
to
why I
be.
had those souvenirs, the small pieces, because I think these are the big ones, and the ones that are like, oh my god, but the small ones are like those souvenirs, and people like those. So and you have to have all the options.
I'm curious if you see any trends developing that are related to the pandemia that you think are going to stick around, like things that are happening in the art world. Like, what do you see a year from now, 5 years from now? Do you think anything's going to evolve or change because of this?
I think the social media is very important to the gallery, but and people likes the art and likes how it looks and everything. But I think the connection with the art has to be personal. And for many digital shows that we did and 3D and whatever, nor any render is going to replace that experience to have our artwork in front of you. So based on that perspective, I think that everyone in the art wants to every space open now, because wants to feel this, oh my god, the art of feel being in front of the space, the piece. So I think it's very important to open up back to the normality, to the normal way to show art. because the art, you have to leave it personal.
Right. Yes. Are there more questions coming? I love how you honor artist work. Thank you. Well, yes. I know. I think that's one of the reasons that you and I connected very easily was because I met him at the Kipo Dos art fair. It was a year ago. Oh my God. It was a year and a week ago. Can you believe that a year ago, like we were walking through these crowded art fairs? I mean, how many were there last year? There was Zona Maco, Kipo Dos, Materiales, Salon Acme, and then there's like, like I think there were like 40 art fairs that had like at least 40 artists in each one of them, and they were all from Argentina for some reason. I don't know why. Like
Yes,
last year was like the year of Argentina.
Because the concept, it was from Argentina. It was, I don't remember the name of the fair, but I think it was like 10 fairs here in Mexico City that last time.
And now
Last year. Sí, last night. Ajá. Sí. Ajá. The last year, and I think the everything changed a lot.
Is Kiko doing an art fair this year?
I don't know. I think you're gonna do a public show or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know yet.
And Zona, because you've worked at Zona Maco, you saw the announcement that they're
Yes,
focusing a little bit more regionally. this
they're
year.
gonna do the same thing. Like they're gonna do public shows, and also it's going to be more local. So what are they gonna pretend to do is like create or invite more spaces to get involved with the art fair and do these shows in little spaces. And that's in where I am, but I don't know if I want to do it because I think it's a good way because it's the international Mexican art fair, but
If it's local, I don't know.
it's very local, and I think I don't know if I want to spend that amount of money in something that I know I can do
In
by
your space
myself
here.
in my space here. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, how much does the booth at Zona Maco cost? It's
$1,100.
okay,
It's
so
not that
1,100, like
much.
22 mil pesos. 22 mil.
I don't think it's that much, but I prefer to save it
Well, 22 mil. I mean, you could pay your rent on the gallery for
here for 5 months.
For 5 months. Right,
Yeah,
so-
so I prefer to have my space because it is a small space where I think it works very well, and it's in a new, and I think it's a new town to get art because despite we have the museums, what is not our gallery in, not in this area, not in this area in Mexico. This is a it's in Lagunilla. You can find a movie in YouTube. It's Lagunilla, mi barrio, and it's from a guy who is an antiquarian. And in here, it's every Sundays there is a market from antiques, and you can find anything, and it's super.
I have to say, I have seen like Eames chairs there, and they're like, they're like, 5,000, 6,000 pesos or something, like $300, and you're just like, oh. And because I live on pesos, I never have the money now. But I wish I could be a tourist, like coming.
Because now it's so tourist in many foreigners.
Foreigners, yes.
Foreigners come here and buy these antiques, and now it's expensive. And I think you can buy a piece of mine, and you can buy a chair in Lagunilla, and one of these big pieces.
Right.
So
and you're gonna go home satisfied.
yeah, you are helping.
Spiritual warmth that you haven't felt
No,
for
no,
years.
no, and also because Lagunilla, as I'm telling you, it has different traditions. That we have the tradition of the vestidos of quinceañeras, we have the mariachis, we have this antiques market, and this is a crowded area. And now that it's at night, it's super. It's like nothing happened here. Yes, but today it's too crowded, and I think had an art spot in a place like this full of cultural traditions, and I think it's very good and it's worth it. I'm on it.
Yeah, I mean, I also think in terms of like galleries and stuff right now, we're at an advantage during the pandemic because we have a very low overhead. So if like I see spaces and I'm just like, oh, I'd love to, oh, you know, like the Vizcaya, there's a beautiful French architecture style building across the street from me where by the way, people pay like 10 times more money to live than I do. And I feel like I have, you know, fairly good character in my space. So, but like the spaces are like easily like 30,000 or más, like $1,500 or more rent. And if I had that overhead, I would have been closed in June. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the galleries here, how they're going to survive. But I have to say, Mexico is a very unique place because, I mean, the number of restaurants that have closed, but it's like, I swear to God, if there's an empty space, somebody moves into it and opens up something. Like in America, we always talk about this idea of like the entrepreneurial spirit and like, you know, starting new businesses and things. But like here, there's so little regulation that it you know, it just kind of, it's like, you know, like you could do anything.
And also because I think people now wants to be more safe, and I think with safe I talk about less people, and in here it's only me, and it's a good space for 1, 2, even 3 people. I think for I don't feel even for me safe to be surrounded for with more people in here. So I think 3 people are very fine.
Because of the pandemic.
Because of the pandemic, yes. As soon as this,
it's going to be a fiesta.
yes, for me it's going to be.
because you don't, this isn't where you live, so you're like, oh yeah, and then you just like send a message to the la doméstica de la casa, and you know, like tomorrow, come in, I'll leave 200 pesos on the table for you. Can you clean out all the recycling and take all that with you?
We are expecting, as my case is expecting, like in the approximately week, these museums open.
Yeah, we switched to Alerta Naranja this week, although I think that we switched to it because they wanted people to go out for Valentine's Day and support the restaurants. I don't know what the numbers are like and stuff. I don't want to get into too deep.
Because let's change it.
It's all, you know, it doesn't really matter because
we're talking about the amazingness of the art, of the spiritual the art is. Don't talk about the other things.
Back to the beautiful art. Any more new questions? I have one more question. Una, come on, Una, tell us what your question is.
Hi. Well, I wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on, you were talking about if you're an artist, decide what kind of artist you want to be. Do you want to be a museum artist? Do you want to be a gallery artist? And I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. Do you mean that the artwork, the way you approach the art is different, or the way, yeah, what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate?
Here in Mexico, we have a scholarship for artists. Name is Fonca. So based on that scholarship is in Mexico is how good artist you are. How many times did you get? But sometimes when those artists had many times that scholarship, it's because when they got this time many times this scholarship, and they show the artwork in several museums, no, and it's their artwork. It's buy it, but the government, because the government pays for their creations, and many times they don't fit into the galleries and galleries because their artwork is already sell, and the way of they produce, or the way of the topics of their art, it's not that good for me, and I think they don't have like the good quality for me. I'm talking about my case, but many of my artists had that scholarship. So in here it's that, because I don't know if it's the same here that
No, I mean, because here it's more like sort of like a traditional apprenticeship program, where like school, you go through the major university. It's a very traditional education here. You don't, I mean, like Una, you went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago as well, and it's very. Well, we're going to run out of battery. Here you have to have a major. You have to focus on one specific area, technique, and all these. It's not as like contemporary as other schools internationally might be. And then there's like the system, and it feels like there's this class system within the arts as well. So so it's just different. It's a little bit more structured, I think, here. And then there are all these people who exist outside of the structure. And those people, I think, have more opportunities for the galleries, because the galleries, well, I think like you, it's like we're looking for United States dollars to buy the paintings because they can afford to, and the market here doesn't sustain the same level.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
I hate to say this, guys, but we are actually running out of battery power, and because I am who I am, I forgot to bring my electricity with me. So we're running out of battery power, and we're going to lose connection soon. Is there anything anybody wanted to say as we were closing? And I apologize to Luz. I forgot that you were coming this evening, and we changed the format a little bit. So I'll contact you.
Yes, and also because in here depends of sometimes the curators build the career of the artist also. That's the other way in here how it's do it. And but also it's because the gallery has to work with those curators, and those curators bring their own artists and show them. So it's like I don't know in there in the States, but in here it's like a very rare system, because the museums can buy artwork from the gallery, and are I like these restrictions for how the state buys art. So that's
Yeah,
why
you
also
can pay your taxes with a painting here.
also in here you can pay taxes with. In here we have two museums that are made of their collections are made of donations of you guys, of artists paid as an artist. Depends of how much they sell or how many exhibitions they are. They give of donate a piece to the collection of those museums, and are from the government.
Okay, guys, I am very sorry. We are going to be ending this now as the battery starts to go dead. I don't want to lose you and lose the recording this time. So thank you. I want to thank Mario for helping and allowing us to come again on Monday, his day off too. So I appreciate that so much. And we'll talk to Mario again. You can find him on Instagram at Galleria, GALERIA underscore Gallery Union underscore. Okay.
Yes.
And again, you can look on to my page. I've advertised this show. You'll see one of the images, and he's tagged in that as well. So, let's get a selfie. Oh, it's like you're getting a selfie of us through the computer. Oh, hi. Everybody smile. Here, we'll do a gallery shot.
Thank you so much for your time.
Here we got a gallery view now, so everybody wave. Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.